Hey, I'm Sonia Alleyne, and I want to introduce you to our new podcast, Business First. I am a business and career strategist and an award-winning author. I've spent most of my career working as an editor, and during that time, I've interviewed and worked with some of the most brilliant and successful people in business in a variety of industries. This podcast gives me an opportunity to share what I've learned with you. There are no secrets to success, but there are formulas, strategies, and creative practices to help you make your business bigger, better, and bolder. Successful businesses help build wealth, create jobs, and offer solutions and services that might not have existed if it weren't for people who were inspired to start these businesses. Each week, we will feature some of them with dynamic and instructional stories to inspire, motivate, and guide you wherever you are in your business journey.
I took a lot of care thinking about who would make the products I developed. So, for example, on a trip to Ghana, we met great women in Northwest Ghana who were making shea butter. And they were using the proceeds from the shea butter they were selling to pay for itinerant medical care. So they had doctors and nurses who drove into their villages once a week, and they had to pay for that visit. They used it for education. These women were selling the shea butter, and I thought, what a wonderful opportunity. I'm trying to empower women in the United States by doing this direct sales model where they can sell products and make some money for themselves. And if we buy the shea butter from these women, it can help them and their children in their villages. So that was important to me.
That someone told me they said Spike Lee is doing a set of lectures at Long Island University. And they said they need people to stack chairs after his lecture. And I was living in Boston at the time. And so when I was in Boston, I said, you know what? Every Saturday from this point on, I'm going to go down to New York at 7 a.m. on the bus, and I'm going to stack chairs. Because I always felt like if I could put myself in that environment, then I'm going to meet the people that can put me in the environment that I want to be in. It worked. And they hired me as an apprentice editor for 2 of Spike Lee's films, Clockers and Girl 6. And I worked with award-winning editor Sam Pollard and Geeta Gambier. And that allowed me to get around people that were successful.
So sometimes it's not necessary, but that's a mindset. I mean, several of my products are not patented. I have many, many products. All of them are not patented because it's not necessary. But this is what you hear. Get a patent, protect the product. And you should protect the product. And there are other ways of protecting the product before you get to the patent space, such as non-disclosure agreements. Start simply. Create a simple non-disclosure agreement where your company name is on the top. You're making it look like a legal document. You have everybody sign it. Anybody you're showcasing or discussing your product with, you're signing the document. That's one form of protection.
And so entrepreneurship was something that was always a part of my life, and I've enjoyed it, but it was more of a hustle as opposed to an actual business. And so I did it, but more like part-time because I had a full-time career. And so when I got laid off, it was just like, okay, this is my opportunity to really see how can I make this business, work for me and do this full-time. Yes, we were in the middle of a recession, but, thankfully I had saved. And so I tell people all the time, make sure you have a plan before you just step out there. And so I really planned. I had about 6 months before I was, ending my job. And so I really kind of put together a strategy on what was that next 6 months going to look like for me. And honestly, that 6 months was just a plan for me to kind of figure it out.
We hope you'll join us each week for a fresh episode of the Business First podcast. Look for us every Tuesday, or make it easy and subscribe or follow on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts.